All right, good evening once again. Hope you all had a fabulous week. It's been exciting. I mean, well, challenging, but still exciting. I mean, once we have life, I mean, we can only hope for the best. And so, yes, we are definitely in challenging times. But there's a thing I learned a couple of years ago, and it's really made a huge impact in my life. It was talking about how if everything was perfect, then there'll be no opportunity for us to do anything else. I mean, there'll be no need to innovate. There'll be no need to try different things, to do anything new. We just go with the flow because everything is perfect. And in fact, the fact that there's chaos, the fact that things are not going as it's supposed to be, that is why there's opportunity for us to also expand our horizon. That's why there's opportunity for us to make impact, to make a difference. You see, because there's so much opportunity out there for us to, turn things around, for us to make the chaos a little bit more manageable. And if we're able to identify where we can actually put our footprint, put our mark, and make that difference, that is the difference between the successful people and the rest of those guys. And so if you really want to be successful, they say go to a place where there's chaos, and in that chaos lies your opportunity. Well, you're welcome to the Impact Series. This is the third episode in the year 2023, and it's been exciting so far. We've had some amazing people pass through. The last episode, we actually spoke a lot about agri-business opportunities, especially for those of us who are busy doing corporate work and maybe doing other things. You have a full-time job, you want to start an agri-business on the side. That was the last episode. Check out my YouTube channel and then take a recap. There was lots of learning points over there. And today we are going to be talking about personal development. Now, personal development is indeed a major part of everybody's success journey. And if you don't develop yourself, I mean, well, that's that. It ends right there. So personal development is very important. And we are going to have an awesome gentleman join us. We are resolving one or two things, and he's going to be here shortly. Now, I know that some of us have had our own encounters with personal development, and I know that this is going to be a very engaging subject going forward. Now, if you can hear me, this is a form of sound check as well. If you can hear me, please go on the chat platform and type your name and type where you're joining us from. Let's get talking. So if you can hear me, please go ahead and type your name and type where you're joining us from. Those of you joining us on Facebook and YouTube, you're also welcome. Go ahead and type your name and type where you're joining us from. Super excited to engage with you as we proceed. So please type your name and type where you're joining us from. Let's set the ball rolling whilst we get our resource person in the room. So who's here with me? Let me check. Great, we have Perkins from Doma Hinkro. You're welcome, Perkins. How's it going in Doma? We have Annie from Accra. Lovely to have you as well, Annie. We have a few people also joining us on Facebook. Good to have you guys joining us. If you're on Facebook, do drop some hearts. Let's know that you can actually hear what's going on over here. Let me check the YouTube feed as well. Great. Everything is up and running. Michael from Aplaku, good to have you here. And whilst we are at it, I'd also like to know, so what's your expectation from today's session? What's your expectation from today's session? What are you hoping to learn about personal development? What are you hoping to take home today? If you can type that in the comment section as well, I'll definitely be super grateful. Justine from Accra, good to have you. Basil from Alajo, good to have you joining us. So as I was saying, I would like to know what you are hoping to achieve, what you are expecting from today's session. Hi, Michael, good to have you. Nice to have you joining us as well. Wonderful. All right. Great. Our resource person is locked and loaded. So let's quickly do a sound check. I'm sure he can hear me loud and clear whilst we set the ball rolling. So I was asking, I mean, what are your expectations from today's session? I mean, we're going to be discussing personal development. I'm sure you came here with some expectation, and I'd definitely like to hear that. So do drop it in the comment section as we proceed, so that we hope that, I mean, I'm sure we're going to meet your expectation, but it'll be good to have it in the comment section as well. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce our resource person. He's an awesome gentleman. I mean, he's that guy that, interestingly, we share the wall. Well, back in medical school, I mean, he's my senior, and we shared a well, my neighbor as well, and I'm happy to host him today on this session. So here's a brief about him. So Dr. William Okyere Frempong wears many hats as a medical doctor, management leader, motivational coach, and minister of the gospel. He's the founding medical superintendent of the Nungua Lekma Polyclinic. Here he combines his clinical practice and managerial responsibilities with competence and sterling character. Yet above and beyond being a leading doctor, Dr. Will, as he's affectionately known, is the Africa EPSA regional CEO of the Heart Group, an international leadership and mentorship organization. He is also the lead coach at RoverMed Consult, a soft skills training firm, and served as an independent consultant to CDC Foundation's field epidemiologist training program for Thailand, Ethiopia, China, and India. In these roles, he frequently offers training to emerging leaders and established professionals. Dr. Okyere Frempong holds an MBCHB in medicine and surgery, an executive certificate in business administration, a certificate in healthcare administration and management, certificates in monitoring and evaluation and economic evaluation in global health, and a master's in organizational leadership and governance. He is an accredited DISC coach and a certified professional coach with over 12 years of experience serving in leadership and board roles, awards and leadership and board roles in healthcare, education, church, and nonprofits. Dr. Will has been the recipient of a number of advisory board chair, a number of awards and recognition. He is a member of the Institute of Directors Ghana and a current advisory board chair of the US Ghana Alumni Association. He is also a member of the Lucerne Movement's YLGen and a widely received itinerant preacher. Yes. William is a 2020 Herbert Humphrey Public Health Policy and Management Fellow from Emory University and a 2022 Archbishop Desmond Tutu Leadership Fellow. He demonstrates biblical reflection, visionary perception, and refreshing common sense. He is married to graceful Ruby, and they are blessed with 2 children. Dr. Will is unashamedly Christian and completely sold out to Christ. Now, this obviously means he's the right person to talk to you. I mean, for a doctor to go all out and do all these things, it means that personal development is a key part of what he does. So with a round of applause, a virtual round of applause, let's welcome Dr. Will to the house. William, how are you doing? Good evening.
Hi, neighbor. Good evening.
Neighbor, Charlie, it's been ages. Hope you are doing well.
By God's grace, I'm well kept. Oh, it looks like the technology issues followed me here as well. I see my video is whitewashed now.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, but we are here. We are still going to be able to learn from you, because I mean there's a lot that we can take from you. So I'm happy that you are here this evening, and I'm going to hand over to you to show us the way.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you can hear me in spite of the video challenge, and it won't matter in a while because I'll be switching the presentation. At least there'll be something to. Thanks, Kelvin, for the invitation, and also thanks for taking the trouble to do what you do to impact your community. And I hope that over the next within this hour that we engage, that I'll be able to share with our friends here and learn from them as well. So, and thanks for making the time for that elaborate introduction. I think that the context was right because of the subject we're doing. Otherwise, a much shorter one would have done. A friend of mine, in fact, a good mentor of mine, says that when you are good, you don't need long introductions. But when you are not good, not even long introductions can help. So I hope that it will be worth our while. But we're looking at personal development today, and I christened it Personal Development 101, because there are some things that cannot be taught in a day. They are taught daily. And so we begin today our 101 journey, and I hope that some of you will take it to as far as the Lord would grant you. Our outline for today is looking at a prologue to personal development. Obviously, I have a thing for alliteration, so you see a bit of it in the presentation. You can just admit it as part of the art forms that I like. Purpose of personal development, points for personal development, process of PD, and a post word on PD or personal development. So let's look at a prologue. Here we engage the definition and the drivers of personal development. I have composed this PowerPoint really by reflecting on my own journey and what has been the contribution that the drive and desire for personal development and growth has played in my professional journey and personal life, but also the benefits that afforded me and the opportunities and challenges as well. And I hope that it will be a blessing to you. So by way of definition, personal development is a lifelong process of developing new skills, behaviors, actions, attitudes, and habits to benefit your career, your personal life, or both. So although it is called personal development, it is not removed from professional development as well. And so it's for purposes of acquiring new skills, competencies, attitude, traits, habits that would inure to your personal growth and your professional goals. And the main thing is really about self-improvement. So you improve knowledge, you improve your capabilities, you improve your self-awareness, even about yourself, in order for you to attain, and not just attain, but also sustain your personal growth and professional goals. And what are some of the sources for personal development? Personal development comes in many ways. I have looked at it, simplifying them in 3 headings. At first, there's a self-desire. For many people, their test or drive towards personal development is really innate. It's an innate motivation. They are so committed to developing themselves. They're attending workshops, they're acquiring certificates, they're improving new skills, learning every now and then, adding value from an innate nature. Nobody, requires of them to do it, but they are self-determined to get this done. It also sometimes comes from a place of competitiveness. They want to be on top of the game, on top of the pack, ahead of the squad. And so there's that self-drive and desire to get this. And then there is also number 2, societal demands. The future of jobs is really different from what it was 10 years ago. And so for someone who completed probably a tertiary education in 5, 4, 10 years ago, the skill sets that you require to be competitive today are different. And if you have to think about work or job security, you need to be relevant every day, because every day and in every way, the job market is changing. And without those skill sets, you will not be relevant. And again, societal demand, because sometimes companies themselves, push staff into personal development programs as performance improvement strategies. So you can grow in a new area that is different from your primary area, or acquire a new set of skills to lead a certain diversification the company is making. So societal demands can sometimes compel us to undergo personal development. And my last, obviously, you've seen I started doing S's, so the last will also be an S. It's a sovereign design. There are most times that you ask people, when they are in school, their aspiration, their dreams, their goals, they mention all sorts of things. I know people who wanted to be so many different things, and yet today they are doing entirely different things. And for some of them, who never thought they would even be in a cassock or in a priestly role. They've been called out of their professions to serve God's flock. And so there's also a sovereign design that no matter how much we want to plan and chart our lives, there's a supernatural call that invites us to respond differently. And that supernatural call is not just for the clergy, it's also for human beings who are trained in a different area, but yet you find that they get into a new area and they're excelling in it. They never have a background in agriculture, but yet they're doing fantastically well there. They've never been trained in IT, and yet somehow the ones who are getting into development and writing code and things like that, without a formal degree there, I believe is an unnatural endowment, and this has to be supernatural. So the three sources are: one, self-desire; number two, societal demands; and number three, sovereign design. Kelvin, if I'm still audible, let me know. Kindly just type.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome, great. So let's go to the next. Let's look at the drivers. So we've seen the sources where they come from: society, self, the divine, supernatural, or the divine. What are the drivers? What enables this? For some people, it's from a place of passion. They are so intrigued about how technology works that they get so much into it, and form skills and competences. Every day they're discovering new things. It fascinates them. So, and the question is, what fascinates you? And in that area of your fascination, can you develop yourself such that if anyone is sought after in that area, when they're seeking for the top 10 people in that area in this country, you would have built your capacity such that you would stand out. David, and forgive me if I make biblical references, but that's my worldview. David, the young man, at a certain point in time, we're told in scripture that the king needed someone to play in his presence, and Saul sought for someone who was skillful to play. David was not in the palace, but we're told that one of the king's servants submitted David's CV. He said, "Have you considered David, Jesse's son, the Bethlehemite? He is skillful in playing. He communicates well. He's a man of valor, prudent in speech, and the Lord is with him." So there are times when the things you are passionate about, David was doing this at the backside of the desert, brought him into prominence. What is it that you are passionate about? Can you do it to a level and learn and improve to a level where people from far can recognize you and even recommend you in different places? The second driver is progression. For there are some, it's not really a matter of passion. It's like this is where they progress to. They've done a first secondary school, they studied, what can I think of? Let's say they studied science with geography option. They went to uni to read geomatic engineering or something related to soil science or something. And then they did a master's in something in that area. So they are building capacity, and you can see that it is a progression from where they started from. And that also counts as one of the drivers. The next is practice. Again, what do I call practice as a driver of personal development? So this is where the individual gets exposed to a certain skill. Probably it's a parent's job, but they spend vacations helping out either on the farms or in the shop or in a whatever. Then they by interning or internship, they get to develop a skill in that area. They build a capacity that ordinarily they wouldn't have had. It becomes a driver of personal development. So many people gain gain personal development through practice. They are interns, they are apprentices, they are whatever, they understudy people. For some, the driver of personal development is peer pressure. They see their friends going for a second degree. They also say, well, it's time, let me go along. There are also some, they see people attending short courses. They say, oh, let me go and see what is done there. So this peer pressure can also enable people to embark on personal development enterprises. And their last but one category is persuasion. This is where people are impressed on. This is where people are impressed on by others. So sometimes parents, mentors, guidance and guidance counselors, etc., or HR experts or coaches in the workplace. They review a person's progress, a person's skill sets, and recommend further training in an area or the other. It becomes a driver from the source of persuasion. Then we can march on to providence. The times when you would have said yesterday that, in fact, in this training or this applying for this academic program or this area, I would have never thought I would have done it. But some way, somehow, circumstances line up in a way that places you right in the middle of that opportunity. And many times in our lives, no matter how much we like to think that we are planners, we are thoughtful, we are skillful, we know what we're about and we know where we are going. Most times there are welcome diversions that call it providence or call it the divine places in our path to enable us get to where we are originally meant to be. So why do we have to focus on personal development? Why has personal development been so important to me? I give you some reasons here. So we live in a time where success is not just dependent on the degree you have or the certificate you have. It is dependent on your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Without that ability, you will not thrive meaningfully. And so that's why a commitment to personal development matters, because I think it's Alvin Toffler who said that the illiterate of the 21st century is the one who can read but does not read. How many of us are in that quadrant? Toffler says you are illiterate if you can read but don't. So to thrive in the times we live in, you don't need just a degree. You need more than that. You need agility, you need flexibility, you need to be adaptable, you need global skills. And those are not necessarily taught in a degree program or in a educational certificate program. And then we live in times of fast change. I mean, look at the times we live in. COVID has changed almost everything. So that if you were the kind of person who says, well, for me, computer is not the thing for me, you are living in AD, but yet you are a DC person. You are born before computers. You still type by doing A or B or that's a tragedy, because work is going increasingly technological, and many automation. In fact, the World Economic Forum report on the future of jobs says that automation is becoming the order of the day, and many jobs will be substituted by automation and new ones introduced that are dependent on technology. So you have to join that fast lane. There's a fast change and you have to comply. Today, knowledge, the rate at which knowledge changes, they say, I heard someone, if I remember correctly, say that the half-life of knowledge is now 7.7 years, 8 months, which means that every certain number of, after a certain number of period, you need to go back to check whether the knowledge you thought you had is still relevant. And of course, you need to stay relevant. So I put this together, looking at a pre-COVID era. They described that as a period where the world of work was VUCA. It was volatile, it was uncertain, it was complex, and it was ambiguous. Think about that. Volatile, there was rapid changes. It was uncertain. You couldn't tell what was going to happen next. It was complex. It was not simple. You can't explain it in a linear way. What was straightforward was now more convoluted, and it was ambiguous. You can't even comprehend where you stand. And this today, in a post COVID-19 or in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic, I was introduced to this new terminology, BANI, and I heard it first from Doris Ahiati, CEO of Crescendo Consult. She says that in this time, we have even transitioned from VUCA into BANI, where B for brittle, A for anxiety, N for non-linear, and I for incomprehensible. Whether you subscribe to VUCA or to BANI, the truth of the matter is that the times we live in requires that you are able to learn, unlearn, and relearn skill sets, traits, strategies, habits that would help align you towards success in this 21st era. So we live in changing times, and Prof. Bawani says that there are two things we can say with certainty about the future. It will be different, and it will surprise. Now, more than ever, leaders must navigate unfamiliar, challenging times at a quickening pace of change, increasing expectations, and a rising tide of rapidly evolving conditions. It is the reason why any emerging leader or any established leader, anyone on this call who wants to intentionally place themselves in a place of advantage should take personal development seriously. I came across this quote from a Fortune 500 CEO. I attended a fine dining training because I realized that more and more business is being done over meals, and sometimes it can get confusing when you get into a business meeting that is being done over meals, and it is a fine restaurant. There's all of this cutlery set up, and you are not sure which of them to use. And some people have gone in and said, "Oh, me cutlery there, me use natural hands," and you make fun about it, but then you come across as lacking something. There's a quote that a Fortune 500 CEO says. He says, "Eating is not an executive skill, but it's especially hard to imagine why anyone negotiating a rise to the top would consider it possible to skip mastering the very simple requirements of good etiquette." What else did they skip learning? So when something as basic as table manners, you get it wrong, it makes people wonder that is there other things that you are missing or have skipped. And I want us, those on this call who haven't taken fine dining very seriously, to do so, because more and more you would be getting into that area where you're meeting clients over meals, and you shouldn't confuse the salad fork with the dinner fork, or confuse which side of the table your glassware is and take that of the other person on your left. So just for purposes of throwing in some education, I think I brought up a video that should teach us something. So let's see if this video will play. Hopefully we can learn, we can do some personal development on table manners in this training as well. So let's take a listen. I hope you can. Okyere. Oops.
Hello, William. Okay, I think we lost Dr. Will for a moment. I'm hoping he can restore his connection and get back on. But it's been quite interesting so far. I mean, learning a few things here and there. I mean, making some notes here and there. But of course, the most interesting part is the food. I mean, I think the food has to just enter the mouth. But hey, if you skip the food etiquette, you might never sign the deal. Okay, William, good to have you back. Okay, we still can't hear you, William. So guys, if you have any question, anything that's standing out for you,
Kelvin, my apologies. That seemed like technology is not my friend. Unless it doesn't also want us to get the dining. So I'll skip that video.
All right. But I think you have to reshare your screen.
Okay. Share. Okay. Is the screen visible now?
It's loading. Yes, it's visible now.
Okay. So let's skip this and go to the maybe I should just skip this as well. But the summary of this photo, and I'm sure that everyone can see that it appears that the bridge is linking the wrong part. The water body is on the right side, and the bridge, which should connect the two land areas, is rather on the left side. So it's a bridge to nowhere. But the backstory is that this is called the Choluteca Bridge, and it was built in the Honduras, a place in the Central America, by Japanese, engineers. There was, a challenge with accessing the other area, and anytime you did anything, any bridge, they had floods, it washed whatever they constructed. So they got these very fine engineers to build a bridge. Between 1996 and 1998, this bridge was ready. 484 meters long bridge. It was now strong and was supposedly, they said it was built to last. In that same year, it was handed over in October. The area experienced some torrential rains, about 75 inches of rainfall recorded that day, and about 7,000 lives were lost. The resultant effect is the picture that you see here. As the rain fell, it shifted the sand and silt under the bridge, and the water changed course. So now the water or the river or whatever that was formed there had gone past the bridge, and now the bridge was standing in the middle of nowhere, connecting you to nowhere. And I brought this picture because that's what a degree without a commitment to personal development can sometimes become. You have a bridge that is connecting you to nowhere. You have a certificate that does not make you versatile, does not make you productive on the job market, because you have not been built to adapt. You have rather looked at building to last like this bridge. And the danger with building to last is that changing times may make you irrelevant. So the purpose of personal development, what are some of the benefits? It helps you become relevant. Like I said, times are changing, and if you don't acquire skills, you become irrelevant. It also helps you become resilient. It helps you survive difficult times, changes, downturns. You're always able to tap into a skill set that enables you to thrive very well. And then you also become resourceful in your business, in your workplace, where a certain new business is being pioneered, something new path is being charted. You are the one that people tend to because you have built competencies in those areas. Then you're also able to reinvent yourself. So you decide that, well, I've pursued this for a long time. You also have this skill set. You want to divert into music. You want to go into agriculture. You want to go into technology. Because you have those skill sets, it becomes an easy transition for you. So you're able to reinvent yourself in a Barney period or in a VUCA period. Then personal development also helps you to build network and establish contacts. It's useful for relationships. You're able to engage people in different sectors and different spheres. And the last is one of reassurance. It brings fulfillment. When you are competent in an area, it brings satisfaction, it brings a sense of pride and confidence. You are reassured. Zane Khan says that hard skills get you hired, but soft skills get you promoted. Do you have enough skills, soft skills, to stay and progress in your job? What are some of these soft skills you need to have? Communication, persuasion, negotiation, networking, time management, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, cross-cultural competence, goal-getting, and teamwork. I mentioned the World Economic Forum report on the future of jobs 2020. It lists some top skills that it says are the top skills for 2025. It says problem solving, working with people, self-management, and technology use and development. So if you went to the World Economic Forum website, you'd find this, expanded better. They talk about analytical thinking and innovation, active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving, creativity, originality and initiative, leadership and social influence, technology use, monitoring and control, reasoning, problem solving, ideation, resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility. All of these are mentioned in the future of work report 2020 by the World Economic Forum. So what are the trends in global skill priority? And you can see from the graph there, the ones that are decreasing, what is stable and what is increasing. You can see that to a large extent, critical thinking and analysis is becoming an increasingly sought after skill. problem solving, self-management, working with people, etc., etc. So in addition to getting your hard skills, that is your competence in either chemistry, your competence in marketing, a technical area, engineering, or whatsoever that you are trained in, look at acquiring these soft skills as well. So someone would ask the question that, so how do I begin? There seems to be a lot that I want to do or I need. So where do I start from? So I give this as a guide to how to prioritize your personal development. Always ask yourself, what is my purpose? It's a question of what is required of you. At every given point in time, there's something required of you. And if you identify that purpose, ask yourself if you have the skill set to be able to execute it successfully. And then when is it expected? What's the period? Then there's a question of productivity. What gives me the greatest result? What can I do best? There's a question of price. What gives me the greatest result? And a question of penalty. What will be lost or what will be the cost involved? Think through this as you think about acquiring new skills for personal development. And this is a quote that I want you to reflect on. I say that technical competencies gets your foot through the door. Cognitive competence gets you a seat at the table, which is your intellectual ability or capacity. It gets you a seat at the table. But your social competence determines how long you stay in the room. There are many people who have gotten amazing opportunities just because they did not know how to behave well, how to hold their peace, how to manage their emotions. They lost those opportunities. And all of these are things that you can look at developing competencies in emotional intelligence. Let's go to the next chapter as we try and wrap this up because we're racing against time. What are the places and phases of the process for personal development? Let me share a few slides with you. The spheres, I call them spheres of personal development. Number one, you must develop your physically. So in terms of health, strength, conditioning, you must be intentional about developing yourself in this area. So if it's whatever you do to improve your physical health, strength, presence, it's important that you pay attention to it. It's part of your personal development. Your spiritual development, your mental development, it goes to learn. Your relational development, social skills, relationship, etc. They are all things we can grow in. Some have a lot of difficulty with relational skills. They just don't know how to engage, network, relate with people, either in the corporate sector or wherever. And they are occupational skills that you need. And so if you look at these 5 areas, all of them, there are several aspects that you can acquire skills relevant for. And so I do not just want us to focus on the occupational, are there mental needs that you have, are there spiritual, are there physical? All of these are areas you can grow in. And the phases of personal development from Mind Elevator looks like this. It first begins with a belief, a mindset, a discovery, a motivation that says, I can do this. So you move from belief to a plan where you set goals, you develop a strategy, then you move to action where you execute, you develop habits to sustain that, and you move towards results where you begin to see outcome, you get reward or pay from it, and you get feedback. Then you review, you evaluate, etc., etc. What are some of the enablers for personal development? A clear vision is one of them. Without that, you will really be wading through life because life will present you with a lot of opportunities and a lot of people will be saying so many things to you. If you don't have a clear vision of or clear grasp of who you are, what you have been created for, what you can contribute, and where you want to be, you will not be enabled enough to pursue personal development because everything will be scattered. Then you need a concise plan. How are you going to do this? Where are you going to get the resources from? Who is providing them, and etc. You need a plan. Over what period am I going to get these skills? Develop a plan. Then you need concrete support. They come in the form of coaches, and I encourage every professional on the call to find a coach, or in the least get a mentor or an accountability friend, somebody who is going to support you along your growth journey. And then you also need a conducive character. There are certain character traits that do not support your personal development: laziness, procrastination, idleness. You need to whip yourself in line to deliver on certain goals. And if you don't form the right character or habit, you will certainly not get there. And so pick a skill, plan how to acquire or improve it. So for some, it might be even wanting to learn to play a musical instrument. So pick that skill, then plan how can I acquire that skill? How can I improve if you already know how to play it? And then partner with a trainer, a coach, or a friend. So find somebody who can assist along the journey. Then pursue the skill acquisition. Once you have found a trainer, there's some people who go and pay for trainers, for coaches, for gym sessions, and do not show up after their first two, outings. So pursue the skill. This is where the character that I talked about matters. And then where I'm giving you a few online places where you can find free personal development opportunities. You look at Coursera, you look at edX, you look at Udemy, you look at Skillshare, LinkedIn Learning, YouTube, Code Academy, Open Learning and Allison, and Udacity. These places have great, in fact, some of them have content from universities, renowned universities, free. If you want a certificate, then you just pay, some change for it. That the content is as good as you can find anywhere. So follow these sources; they are very useful. I picked this quote and I've adapted it from a quote from Bernard Avler on CTFM this month. I've adapted it, but essentially it reflects what he shared. Daily habits for deepening self-growth. He says, 1, read daily to grow. And all of us as professionals need to do that. Some of us, we've stopped reading since we finished school. In fact, we live by that creed. I've finished school. So for you, finishing school means finish learning. The last time you picked anything to read was Facebook. There's no book that you can recall reading recently. You need to read daily to grow. You need to listen daily to reflect. So when you hear people, reflect on what they are saying, because not everything you hear will be correct, but some things you hear also challenge your paradigms or open new doors for you. Give yourself opportunity to reflect on them. And then think daily to synthesize. So the things you've read, the things you've listened to, put them together, synthesize them, and form a certain personal view, value system, etc. about it. And then teach daily to become a master of what you have learned. Make it a habit to share with your friends, your colleagues, and that would be useful. In closing, I'm inviting you to think about 2 skills you need to develop capacity in, and then develop a plan to get it done by the end of the year. My post's word on personal development is an inspiration and also a benediction. The inspiration is from Robin Sharma, and he says that the swiftest way to triple your success is to double your investment in personal development. George Eliot, that famous English poet, also says, it's never too late to be who you might have been. And finally, Tim O'Brien says, 20 years from now, sorry, not Tim O'Brien, but Mark Twain, illustrated photos by Tim O'Brien. He says that 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from a safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sail, explore, dream, and discover. And ladies and gentlemen, as you continue on your journey of personal development, I share this Irish prayer with you, that as you go, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind ever be at your back. May the sun shine warm on your face. May the rain drop moist on your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Hello. God bless you.
Kelvin, God bless you. Thank you very much, William. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for such an insightful presentation. Thank you so much. I mean, the ending kind of summarizes the whole thing. I mean, the ball is in your court. It literally is in your court, because Charlie, where the world is going, if you don't step up to play, I mean, you'll be left ball watching, and that's not where you want to be, because there's those who are in the game, those who are actually playing the game. They are the ones who are making the difference. And so we need to get ourselves in the act. And one of the things that you mentioned that actually, I mean, it's very deep, and it's true, is the fact that, I mean, the degree will get you the job. It's the soft skills that will get you the promotion. I mean, many of us go to church. Since you're a minister of the word, many of us go to church. We pray for promotion and all of that, and then we leave the church and then go back and do the same old things, without adding to our knowledge, wisdom. So and I keep saying one of my favorite things I would saying nowadays is that, like, the prayer point, long life. I don't think long life is a prayer point. Long life is a decision. It's an active thing. I mean, if you are not going to exercise, you're not going to eat right, you cannot pray for long life and hope that God is going to answer that prayer. He has given you, the ball is in your court. You have to do your part. And so in that same regard, the personal development ball is also in your court. If you are ready to do your part, I mean, the promotion then and all those things will actually come to pass. And so thank you very much for sharing all those things with us. I have taken my share, and at this point, let's open the floor. If anybody has any question, contribution, anything they want to say, this is it. Please put up your hand. Okay, wow, somebody's hand is already up. Okay, please go ahead, Albert.
Boss Senior Dr. William Frempong, I salute you, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey.
So
that's our big man, the psychiatrist.
Yes, he is.
Just giving honor to whom honor is due. Dr. Frempong has been a part of my very beginning, even though he doesn't know directly himself, but he's been there from the time I came for interview to medical school. And it's because of him that I was able to get to medical school, but he doesn't know the details. So I just want to say thank you. I've said it to you once before, but I just want to say thank you again. And when I saw that it was you that my boss Kelvin was featuring, I realized, Charlie, I have to log on quickly and hear from here that the voice is. So thank you for the impact as always. And keep blessing us. We are following small, although our pace is too slow, but we will get there.
My pleasure. Thank you for your kind words. And I see what you also do in your piece. Encourage you to keep leading.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So as I was saying, if you have any question or any contribution, anything that stood up for you and the course of the presentation, we have about 5 minutes. Please go ahead and then put up your hand or type it up in the comment section. Okay, so there's a question in the chat box. Well, it starts with great and thought-provoking points. Thank you, William. That's from Annie. And she's asking, how does one get into your personal coaching program? So William, that's a question for you. How does one get into your personal coaching program?
Oh, good question. So Okay, so really we have to be in touch. An email expressing interest or a WhatsApp message, and then myself or my team will pick it up from there. Generally, we set up a complimentary first session, which is totally free, because we want to be sure that the person, either the individual is worth coaching, or that coaching is what the person needs. And after we've done with the first session, like I said, which is totally complimentary, decision is made whether a coaching relationship could be done. So I can type my email address.
Yeah, please do so. Please put it in there. I'm sure a lot of people have that question as well.
In the chat box. Since it's a small group, actually, I don't even mind sharing my number. I actually did at the end of the slide. So let me put my it's actually more effective if I use the RoverMed. Yeah, so the next question can come while I just put that detail in there.
All right. So guys, if you have any question or anything bugging your mind when it comes to personal development, if you are having any challenges, this is the time. Please share. You can put up your hand or you can just type it up in the comments.
This request is from Annie. Annie. Okay. Annie has my number too. Annie, I'll be suspecting your message. So send me a message. But for those who don't, I'm sharing the number for the admin for RoverMed. Drop a message and say that you want to consider personal coach. But Annie can send me a direct message.
All right. So, William, thank you very much for sharing. We have, let me see, Akusika, Basil, Edwin, Justina, Manuel, Michael, Nadole, Nusarat, Perkins. Anybody has anything bugging their mind they want to ask? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Going once, going twice. All right, William. Thank you very much. That was a very insightful presentation. I mean, you packed a lot of information in that short while. I mean, it's really one of those things that you have to sit back and then kind of watch the replay and then break it down, dissect it, and take your time and assimilate all of that. So that you can actually learn. I mean, you can move forward with some of the information that you got. But I think the summary of the whole show was that you need to be ready to you need to learn. I mean, I think you put when you mentioned that you have to learn and relearn, I think that's the bottom line, because once you come out of school, the knowledge you have is pretty much decaying. So you need to improve on that knowledge every day, all the time. And I mean, and you are actually a demonstration or an epitome of this whole thing called personal development, because as a medical doctor, I mean, you didn't just limit yourself to the consulting room. Now you're doing so many other things. So that's why we actually brought you here today to share some of these things with us, to let us know that indeed you can become whatever you want to become once the desire is there. Or is it the societal pressure, or is it by divine calling? Whatever it is possible to do whatever you want to do. The degree is just what gets you through the door. What you actually do once you're in the door is up to you. And so, well, I was wrapping up, but somebody has dropped the question. Please, is RoverMed on social media? What does the coaching program entail? Okay, William, there's a question from Nadole. Is RoverMed on social media? And then what does the coaching program entail?
So I have put the website of the RoverMed. It's rovermedconsult.com. Put it in the chat. We don't have corporate social media channels. So essentially, from the website, the social handles linked to my personal handles. We would explore getting corporate what do you call social handles later. So, but I've shared with our website. Coaching practice is universal, so I can encourage her to read around executive coaching and have a bit of idea what coaching is about. If she wants to explore and she after engaging some material first and she thinks that that's what she needs in order to grow, like I said, she can request to set up an exploratory coaching meeting, and we would have a conversation about what her aspirations are and how coaching can assist. And then if we are agreed, we can enter into a coaching relationship. So now look online for coaching. In fact, you can there's a lot of material online on. I also find a bit of detail on what we do with coaching in the RiverMed Consult websites and the coaching services.
All right, thank you very much.
I see Edwin.
Yes, Edwin is here.
Is
hiding in the background.
Oh, this is a good place to be. Great.
And Edwin, you have been caught. Please show yourself.
Edwin, it's good to see your photo. Right.
All right. Thank you very much, William. Thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll invite you back on another subject. But thank you for dissecting today's topic. And thank you guys for also making time to be here on the Impact series. I mean, as the name implies, the aim is to make impact. And I believe you've been impacted today. So let's go out there and let's spread the word. And remember, we are here again in 2 weeks' time for another installment of the Impact series. So have a fabulous evening and a blessed week ahead, and a productive one for that matter. So stay blessed, guys. Signing out.
All right. Bye.
Bye.